Hello, listeners. Welcome to season 2 of the Masters Decoded podcast. I am Manish Merchant, the chief decoder. I want to thank you for the overwhelming response to season 1. Your feedback and encouragement led me to bring you season 2 of the Masters Decoded. The season will tap into how technology, artificial intelligence, and other socio-economic factors have impacted my guests' careers or passions. My next guest on today's podcast is Alankrita Sahai, an Indian model turned actor and beauty pageant title holder, crowned as Miss India Earth 2014. She is the first Indian to win 7 titles at the Miss Earth pageant held in the Philippines. In 2018, she made her acting debut with the Netflix romantic comedy film called Love Per Square Feet. The same year, she also played the role of Alisha in the film Namaste England. She is also a TEDx speaker and has worked with over 200 brands. Without much further ado, let me get on with it.
Hi, Alankrita. Welcome to Masters Decoded podcast series. Really glad to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm extremely grateful to be on your podcast. And I'm actually really humbled to be here today. Thank you so much for having me. Feel like a master already.
Oh, yes, you are a master. And talking about master, you did become a master at a pretty young age by conquering or I would say the word conquering, which is Miss India Earth.
Yeah.
And that's a feat of its own, as individuals, we've always seen it on TV, these beauty pageants and how people go through the process. We'll talk about that process and what was your experience about it. But,
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to that young girl in
Mm-hmm.
Delhi studying, ensuring that she has bright dreams, was becoming a Miss India or participating in Miss India was always part of the plan, or what was that little girl's mind telling you at that time?
Um, that little girl was very different. I mean, still the same, but very different in terms of when it comes to my career. I think my parents, I'm so glad to have parents like my parents because they never forced me to actually, when you reach 11th grade, parents tell you, okay, now it's time to take PCMB, take commerce with mathematics, don't take arts. There was a big how would I say, challenge back then for kids who wanted to be in the arts field, right?
Hmm.
But my parents actually never discouraged anything that I wanted, though I'm a commerce student. But when it came to extracurricular activities back in the day, my parents made sure I was part of every debate, every recital, every dance, be it sports day, be it my annual day. I was there, right there with my teachers doing my bit. And the best part is like my teachers always pushed me when it came to, I've been a classical dancer for 12 years. So back in school, I was always participating in dances. I was always on stage. I was debating. I don't think there was a single competition that I did not participate in
Wow.
through my school, be it inter-school or within the same classmates. And my parents were always open to the fact that a child needs to grow and not just through the books, but have her own
Mhm.
experiences to see what she wants to do. And this was at a very young age. My mom always would, say, just follow your heart, just experiment. I even did karate classes, but
Wow.
and I
Okay.
mean, I did everything possible. I had dipped my one finger in every little bowl. But I think I actually wanted to, because I loved economics and I loved business studies and I loved to know about the history of our country and the world. So I was more inclined towards actually becoming a bureaucrat, or I mean an IFS or an IAS officer, to serve my country, because I saw my grandparents, my grandfather from my father's side was working for the government as well, and
Hmm.
my grandfather from my mother's side was in the army. So I
Hmm.
had two people from the same in different backgrounds were serving the nation. So I kind of grew up with this enthusiasm that I want to do something for the country. Like I want to be like of the people, by the people, and for the people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So and I've always was like a leader in school. I would now when I look back, I kind of realize that I was always leading the way in terms of, you know, I wanted to do this. So I would be very assertive of the fact that yes, I had, and I think that's because my parents always supported my decisions instead of led me into being confused about who I am, what I want to be,
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do. They kind of always backed me up. Of course, I had days when I was, you know, I would get a beating or two when I was really mischievous, but
Okay.
that's bound to happen, you know. I
Yeah.
was also a naughty kid, even though I was studious. So it was kind of a balance, to be very
Mm-hmm.
honest. But that young girl was never actually thinking or worried about the fact that I had to become something
Okay.
to make my parents proud or to make people proud, because my parents never let me feel that only if I become something am I worthy enough to them or to the world. So
Mm-hmm.
that's, you know, imbibing that in your children, that, you know, making them assertive, making them confident, building their confidence, supporting their decisions, which of course, which are meant to make them better human beings, which are meant to make them excel in life, or makes them do better in life. Of course, you got to support their decisions, not the decisions which derail them. But you know, you
Mm-hmm.
got to let the kids make their mistakes too. Like my mom did let me do that. And that's when I was like, okay, my mom's right. And when I look back now, but of course, back then you do not really ponder over what your parents are saying. Either you become a rebel without a cause sometimes, which I also
Yep.
went through that stage of my life. But looking back, that young girl just wanted to like dance, debate, win all the prizes. I was really competitive, hella competitive.
Yep.
I just wanted, and I was loved by the people. I was
Mm-hmm.
always given, I was the head girl of my school.
Oh,
So I
nice.
was always, sometimes I would say that I'm sometimes an overachiever because I'm very competitive in terms of I used to be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always want to do everything. Like I didn't want to miss out on anything as a kid. So Miss India was never in my thought process, because to be honest, I never really sat down with my parents and watched Miss India as a kid. I mean,
Oh,
it's
interesting.
awful. It's awful for me to say that right now, but actually, it's. I did not, because
Okay.
we would get very limited time to watch TV, like an
Mm-hmm.
hour in after school, and then post dinner,
Okay.
right? Because the rest of the time, I probably was out there playing, getting bruised, injured. Um, I
That's good to
was
hear.
I was always either doing some project work, homework. I was always out of the house doing some activity. So I never really was a TV kid or
Hmm.
a kid who was always glued to Sega 99. I mean, I used to love playing Sega 99 CDs on my computer, and we had this baseball game. But I never really was we never. Our generation was not into gizmos and gadgets. We were out
I
on the
agree.
field, right,
Yep.
getting a good tan. But so that kid was never. I would either my idea was very clear that I
Hmm.
wanted to do something for the nation. And as a
Okay.
kid, I would write it in my diary. I had a dear diary. I still have one, where I would
Okay.
always write the things. My mom made this a habit for us to write the things
That's
you
nice.
want in your life and say
Okay.
thank you for it, and write thank you for the things you already have in your life.
Hmm.
And so I was like, okay, I want to either be an army. I was a kid, okay. I want to be an, because I was so sporty. I wanted to do something when it came to being maybe an officer, or maybe a cop, or maybe a CIA undercover agent, because I was obsessed with Sherlock books, and I was obsessed with all the MIA and
Wow.
um,
Okay.
all the CIA, MIB, and CIA, movies. And so I also Googled once how to become an undercover agent, like literally. And
Okay.
I was so disappointed to find out that you had to be an American citizen to be
Yeah.
an undercover agent in, of course, in the CIA or the FBI.
Hmm.
I did not think about Raw at that time, but I was so crazy. So that kid never really was sure of whether
Mm-hmm.
she had to actually go into the glamour industry. Though I lived a
Yep.
very glamorous life, which I
Yep.
now look back and I'm like, okay, I was always on the pin board of my school board. Or, I was always doing something, and the teachers were always pushing me and supporting me. So it was like I was kind of manifesting something already It was
Mhm.
in the process. But then I was working, like you said, I was working with an IT firm. I
Okay.
was a business IT student. I am, I mean, not was, I'm alive. I am a
Yeah.
business IT student. And, so it was just luck by chance of fate that I got a job in Bombay. And then, Bombay ki hawa aisi hai ki
Yep.
वो आपको जरूर एक ना एक दफा it will irk you to like, come on man, try, come
Yep.
on, one
Yep.
portfolio, come on, one chance, because it's the city is filled with beauty,
Yep.
it's filled with glamour, it's filled with the idea of Bollywood.
Yep.
And come on, everybody gets like that one little irk that, maybe I should, but I never really kind of chase that idea.
Mhm.
I had my colleagues and my boss who I was working with told me, Alankrita, you know what? I think you're a pretty decent looking girl. You should, you know,
Okay.
try at least get a portfolio made and I'll help you out. And there you go. I'm like, okay, you know what? I would do it. And I went ahead. Um, and then of course that story is for the later questions that you ask me. But that little girl was
Mhm.
never sure of wanting to be a beauty queen because I was a tomboy.
Okay.
I would always be out there in the mud. I would be beating up boys. I would be playing cricket, pittu, all the possible games you can imagine. Volleyball. I mean, back
Yeah.
then they also made the girls, instead of playing volleyball, play handball, which was like, hello. Then we had Coco. I mean, there were so many, activities for us back then that we would do. So I was never a girl who would worry about scars and marks and beauty. But now, hell yeah, I do. A little
Yeah.
pimple and I'm going crazy. But back then, um, it wasn't like that, you
Hmm.
know. And it kind of made me realize that I was always a very free and happy child. And I thank my parents for that because they never put any pressure on me. The only pressure I would, of course, get is make sure you pass in mathematics.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
otherwise, I think my parents were always very, very giving and loving and supportive parents. And I think that's the reason why I was able to realize on my own certain things about myself and what I wanted to be.
And talking about cricket, actually, you won a Woman of the Match award in one of the games, which
Yeah,
was
yeah, I did. I did.
so. So that tomboyish nature is still
Oh yeah,
somewhere present
she's
for
always
sure.
there. She's like, she's always like one shoulder has her, the other shoulder has the other side of me.
That's great. So you created your portfolio, and how did you land up in the Miss India pageant? So where did that
That's
portfolio creation to Miss India pageant? Where did that
so.
story go?
That's an interesting story, to be honest. I always tell you, my life's been so funny and interesting at the same time. And sometimes when I tell somebody, they're like, "Oh, you're making it up," I'm like, "No, but my life is. God's always made my life a series of like it's either comedy. The genres are very different, but trust me, this is funny." So when I was posing, I think I was looking like. I mean, I was. If I look at myself back then, I didn't even know how to pose and smile. I was like making such weird faces and all. They're like, come on, sexy eyes, that attitude, Alankrita. Come on, yeah. And I'm trying my best, okay, to give those sexy eyes. And I don't even know what that means,
Mhm.
okay? My first portfolio. What does that attitude mean? And I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to do those pictures. Like, how you click your family pictures? That's how I
Yeah.
did all my poses. But somehow I did manage to get some good ones. And I was so excited. So I sent it to my best friend.
Hmm.
Now, my best friend is quite elder to me, right?
Okay.
She has been like a second mother to me. After my
Hmm.
mom, she's my manager, my damager. I call her.
Okay.
And she's this tall, gorgeous, amazing lady who inspires me a lot with her strength. So she wanted to be a Miss India.
Hmm.
And she kind of crossed that age
Age.
limit, and she crossed the
Mhm.
idea of she crossed that bridge basically that I can't do it. I mean, you have what it takes, I also have what it takes, but I don't have what you have that you can make it, in terms of the
Mhm.
fact that she's like an introvert at times too.
Mhm.
And she's like, you're confident enough and bold enough to do it. I don't have that courage yet, so you
Hmm.
better make it for me and for us, all of us. I said, look, buddy, I do not know the sea of catwalk. Yeah, I look like a
Okay.
dinosaur, first of all,
Yeah.
walking. And she's like, look, there's everything on YouTube. I will send you all the links. Just start preparing. I said, no, I'm
Hmm.
not doing anything like that. So she said, okay, mat kar, nahi karna, mat kar, okay, do your job, whatever. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, fine, bye. And we kind of had a tiff, okay? I was like, I was just trying to share pictures with you, and I didn't share those pictures with my parents. Nobody except her.
Hmm.
I think 2 weeks or a week and a half later, I don't know, I can't remember the timeline. I get a call from Times of India. I
Hmm.
mean, it was Navreen. She called me, I very well remember. And she's like, you've been directly shortlisted for the audition in Mumbai. Where do you stay? I'm like, I live in Mumbai because I'm working here. She's like, oh, great. We'll send you the list of all the things you need to bring and all the things that are required, blah, blah, blah. And the whole repertoire that's required. And I was like, oh, wait a
Okay.
second. What? She's
Okay.
like, this is your email ID, right? So we're going to send you the list and the details, the venue and the timing and everything. And I was like, what email ID? So it was my best friend's email, Ankita dot something. Okay.
Hmm.
I was like, what? I was like, I'm going to kill her. I was super pissed. I called her. I said, you want me to embarrass myself? What do you like? Why would you do this? You're my best friend or you're my enemy? She's like,
Hmm.
dude, trust me, just try. You just give
Hmm.
it a go. I mean, you've always been doing this all your life. This is nothing new. Of course, it's on a national platform, but dude, you have it. And I was like, I'm not doing this. Don't talk to me. But somehow, I was dating this guy at that time.
Okay.
And he was pretty supportive of the fact that I should give it a go. And
Okay.
I looked at him and I'm like, if something happens, I'm going to break up with you because of this then. Because if I don't make it, I'm breaking up with you because you guys pushed me to embarrass myself. Because
Yep.
you're scared, right?
Yep.
You're always scared
Hmm.
of failing and losing. And I've been an overachiever. So for me,
Yep.
I'm just like, huh? This? No way. That was the biggest scare.
Hmm.
And then I was like, I haven't told my parents yet. I have a job. And then, stability is always a question,
Yep.
right? Being the elder daughter, I was like, okay, you know what? This is one life. I got to do it. And I've always been a
Okay.
go-getter and I've always been impulsive. So I was
Yep.
like, you know what? Let's do this. Come on, Alankrita. So I started preparing myself in terms of the catwalk. I mean, I was always a kid who would work out, but there are a lot of
Hmm.
different nuances you have to pay attention to when you're entering a beauty pageant. Not that I was a veteran, right? And not that I
Yep.
was somebody whose dream or I grew up watching these beautiful women and I imbibed what they had. I had to work double the
Hmm.
harder to kind of, become somewhat close to being a model and
Yep.
so in that 1.5 month, I got so many modeling gigs too. So I kind of took them up and I did them. And that's how I kind of learned my posing and it was so funny because my colleagues pushed me and my friends pushed me. And I was approached by a lot of people because thanks to my girlfriends who spread the word like fire and they're very well connected. I
Hmm.
got a few gigs because they had some ad filmmakers, they had some, people who had modeling agencies and ad agencies. So I kind of got a few gigs and then I was a little prepared. And it's all happened in a month and a half. Yeah. It was
Okay.
insane. And then I remember it was in Palladium, the hotel.
Hmm.
Now we call
Yep.
it St. Regis.
Yep.
So I just go there with my boyfriend, of
Hmm.
course, who's holding my big suitcase. And I'm like,
Okay.
yay. He's like, yeah, I'm your butler for today. I'm like, thank you. And then we go in and I see so many women. I walk in, first the height criteria, first I'm being measured, that
Yep.
everything that's been written by my best friend online is accurate, right? Because a lot of people
Hmm.
lie and, it's not
Yep.
their fault. Come on, women could be
Yep.
beautiful at any age and could be beautiful at whatever, their height is. Like,
Yep.
we have certain conditions and restrictions when it comes to beauty, but it was what it was. So everything was being checked and it all checked out, and I was on the next second step, which is entering the gates, the doorway to my first step to stardom. So
Okay.
there I see the most beautiful, gorgeous, breathtaking, tall, all sorts of
Hmm.
women. Okay, and I'm
Hmm.
like, what? I just thought a few of us are going to be here. This is a plethora of
Yeah.
women. What am I
Yeah.
going to do? And, I would not even say, they were like, I would, if I would just say 10,000 is an exaggeration, but in my mind, it was that many women to compete with.
Wow.
The first thing I did was I looked at my boyfriend. I said, time for you to go now. Okay, go, go, go. No, no need for you to stay here and support me. I think you should leave. It was not the insecurity. It was just a funny remark I made, and we both started to laugh. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go in a bit, but I'll help you. I'll kind of stay around and support you for whatever you need. I said, okay. So then the whole thing started. Like, they gave us the sponsored particular ganji to wear with the name of Miss Diva, and all the things started, and they were checking in. So I thought I was looking like Kim Kardashian because I had called a special makeup dada and hair didi to do my hair and makeup, right? And I thought they've made me look like this glam doll. But in reality, like, there's this thing in reality and how you actually how you actually think you're looking and how you're actually looking. I was looking like a vamp because they had contoured my face like, I have no idea. I could not recognize my own self. And my hair were like Goldilocks. Wow. Instead of, instead of those bouncy waves, I had curls.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to make it. You know what? I'm like the best. You kind of talk to yourself, right? And then after that, I kind of did the first few rounds. I got through all the rounds. And then this lady comes up to me. She's like, you know what? Can you just get toned down the makeup a bit and open your hair? You have such lovely hair. And I'm like, and with that one comment, I was like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. She like, this person's like told me like this is, it's, and she was really big in the company. And I was like, that's it for me. Right. And I did what she asked me to do, and I went ahead. We had the bikini round, we had the question answer round, we had possibly every round for them to understand us candidates better. Then we had the normal like ganji jeans round, we had the cocktail dress round, and a couple of more, activities to make sure that we are fitting the description of the finalists that need to be, taken in. And it's like 4 a.m. now, right? And I'm just like, okay, like
it goes up till that time.
It does. When there's so many girls, it tends to get extended. Yes, it does. And but they kind of take care of us with food and everything. They're like very good that ways. But you know what? We girls would not want to wait another day. We would want to finish it the same night, so we all wait. And we all are like just waiting, and guess what? My name gets announced, and I'm just like, huh? So this girl, like, literally, she elbows me, and she's like, Alankrita, it's your number they're calling out. And I'm like, what? I was like, with this, I made it. So, we were top 16 girls who were selected. And then the whole journey started. We had to stay in Palladium Hotel for like about a really long time, for a month and a half. We were competing. There were various competitions, internal competitions that we had to kind of be a part of. And then the whole thing goes on and on and on and on. And then on the finale, we were all so nervous because by that time, we kind of figured out who was whose favorite and who could possibly win. And, stuff like that, all women think, and those things tend to happen. And there were a few people who really loved me in the team, who really pushed me and helped me. There were a few people who would give me the worst outfits to wear and the worst things to kind of present myself with, because, I never really was a person who would, I'm not like that. How do I explain this? There's no right word for it because I don't want to sound awful. I was never someone who could lick someone's ass, to be very honest. I'll be very honest and use that word. I've never been that person. I could never be that person. I'm not a people's pleaser, to be honest.
Okay.
All right. So people who respected that about me pushed me way ahead and always were on my side. And people who did not like that side of me, who thought I was arrogant and I was bitchy or rude, I was like, yeah, that's the way I protect myself. That's my cover. And I am bringing my walls down for nobody, and those people gave me the worst time during that particular period. But then the great amount of people who were there in my team, and me and my performance in the competition and all the other girls, we all did our best. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we all were competing with one another. Imagine the stress levels were so high. But then I won with the other two girls in my year, and it was a shocker for me because I was not expecting myself to win. Given the entire process of the 1.5 months that we were there. And then I realized that they told me after I won that I only had like 15 to 20, 25 days before I go international. And I was like, what? Because, girls are usually given a year or 6 months to prepare for the international pageants. I had like hardly any time.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was short-lived, the win, because I had to then go into training again. But it was a beautiful experience. And my dad also came when I won. My mom couldn't make it, but my boyfriend at that time made it. My friends made it, everybody. So it was just so overwhelming. It was shocking. Of course, I didn't have a moment like, everybody does, like with the crown on my head and me going, oh, me. Yeah. I didn't have that kind of a picture clicked. I was just like, what? That was more of my expression, and like a Cardi B expression, to be honest. And I was extremely happy and delighted. And I was so thankful to the team who supported me and pushed me. And I was so thankful for Times of India and the Miss India organization, because a lot of people believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself, because I was so new to this. And there were so many girls who already had tried, and it was just amazing because I never expected myself. But then my mom reminded me, you wanted to do something for India. Now you've become a Miss India and you can actually do something. And I was like, oh my God, I actually manifested something unintentionally, And after that, the international pageant, I walk in and I see. So I go ahead with 180 kgs excess baggage because we have to like. I'm not joking.
Did the airlines allow you?
Of course they did, thanks to the fact that I was going to represent my country. It was an international pageant. So the team was great. They get you all the designers in the country to get your wardrobe ready for that time period that you're going to be in the international competition. In a different country. I was in the Philippines, which is like the biggest beauty pageant. Like they're fanatics about beauty pageants. That country, they love beauty. Like Venezuela, Brazil, them, they love it.
Yep.
And then after that, they prepared me. I was ready. I met Sabira Merchant. I met all the beautiful and amazing people actually, who I had only heard about and seen. And, I was so excited for this journey. And I was like, yay. I entered, there are 100 girls from the most beautiful countries, and they are gorgeous. And some of them are 6 feet tall, and I'm just looking at myself like, what? I have to compete with them. I have to compete with them. I have to compete with a country, no longer a state. It's no longer that I'm competing with Miss Tamil Nadu. I'm competing with Miss. I'm competing with Miss Brazil. And, because you've seen, when I was preparing myself, I was seeing their videos, right? I was seeing the international beauty pageants and how these wonderful women and how they make it and what they do and how it all works out, right? That's what I was actually seeing. And I was not insecure, but I was definitely in a lot of shock. I was like, they're way beautiful, but though I was like, what, I'm just not going to focus and manifest my fears. I'm going to have a good time, be it a paid vacation for that matter, but I'm going to do something and have a good time than just stress about this. I didn't let it get to me. So the first round was won by Brazil and Philippines and I think another country, I can't remember. But then back to back, all the rounds in my category was won by me.
Wow.
And I was like, everybody back home was so happy that, because we had different ABC categories because there were 100 countries that would divide everybody up. And I was winning, and it was incredible, the feeling. And my people back home were so happy because it's never happened before that a lady goes to an international pageant and she wins back to back all the subtitles, and then I also won the sponsored crown. It was called Miss Pagudpud or something. Yes, Miss Pagudpud. I mean, it was by the people whose island we went to, and they crowned me as well. And I was extremely happy, And for me, in that, I was just like happy with that. But then what happens is they tend to believe that somebody who wins so much usually wins the main Miss Earth title. But I was already crowned like 7 titles and a crown that they gave it to their own country girl.
Okay.
And, it was kind of disappointing because I was like, okay. But then for me, like I'd already won so much and I had a crown on my head again internationally. So I wasn't sad because I was like, I'm ready to go home now. I'm ready to meet my parents. I'm ready to meet my friends. I'm ready to eat some dal chawal now,
Yeah.
And it was amazing because winning a bikini round or Miss Photogenic or Miss Eco Beauty video or whatever the titles that I got, and being rewarded for your effort. And you're somebody who's just walked into this industry in terms of this beauty industry. And beauty norms are very high. And I don't consider myself to be like the most beautiful. But yeah, I back then I would, think like, yeah, I've made it because I have something in me. Right. And people see something in me.
Yep.
And in the Philippines, I was treated like Katrina Kaif and Shah Rukh Khan because for them, Miss India is like that big. So for me, it was like a dream, like, wow. And then when I came back, I got the title of being the first Indian to win so many titles internationally for India. So in a way, I was like, oh my God, I made my country proud when I went there. And I made India proud when I went there, and I came back and though the team was waiting for me at the airport, I didn't even realize like a homecoming and a welcome was being a welcome, how do you call that? The media was waiting for me, homecoming, and they wanted to welcome me with a garland and with a lot of love. But I went home straight without realizing that. And I was like, oh, damn.
Take a back gate and get out? Or
yeah, I did that. I mean, not back gate, but the other gate, and I was out.
Yeah.
And they're furious at me. They're like, hello. I'm like, oh my God, I was so wanting to go home. I didn't realize. But then, of course, the next day and the next coming days, we did the media coverage. And that's my journey started as a model, a beauty holder who's a model, because I did so many gigs after that. But then sometimes people expect you to overnight become a superstar, which it doesn't work like that. You got to work really hard. So that's how my Miss India journey and Miss Earth journey happened. And I came back and I was flooded with so much work that I was like, wow, like this is more than my salary. Let's do this, but more than that, it was not just about the salary, to be honest. It was about the love I got from people. It was about how my parents were thrilled and overwhelmed with so much love. And, my best friend, of course, she went crazy. She's like, I told you, So till date, I gave her credit till date. That's why till date I speak about her. I never take it on me because it was her. And after that, I think it was just that I realized that I was always in love with this craft. Because as a kid, at the age of 13, I became Miss Noida. So it all came back to me like, oh, I was a Miss Noida at 13.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, I did that. And that was just for fun. I did it. I used to go for all these dance competitions. I was a debater. I was on stage performing, doing classical dancing, doing nukkar nataks with my teacher, Damyanti ma'am, and doing all sorts of things with all my other teachers, be it English plays or anything. And I'm like, oh my God, this is why probably this has happened to me, that I got to experience and explore this. But after that, I kind of took a sabbatical because I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. I worked for some time, but I wasn't mentally and emotionally ready. So I took a sabbatical. I traveled. I came back and I was like, okay, now I am ready. In 2016, mid this was. And I was like, let's do this.
Nice.
And yeah, that's how it all started.
There's one thing which you became an overnight success. Almost.
Almost.
You had few days to work. You had few days to work on between the Indian pageant to going to the international pageant. How did you manage? Because now your life is exposed to everyone. Everybody wants to know about you. You go out of your house, people want to click pictures. There's things around you watching you literally 24/7. And you have to kind of put on a mask, which may not be you. And there's been a lot of conversations in the industry about that. What's been your perspective? What's been your experience around that?
To be honest, the only mask that I've ever had, and that's been a mask which has been there to protect me, in terms
Mm-hmm.
of where I remember I meet a lot of people now and they're like, oh my God, we thought you were so arrogant and rude and, like not into talking to people and socializing. Because, the thing is, I am an extrovert. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a side to me who knows her boundaries.
Yeah.
And those boundaries don't allow me to mingle and jingle and, go ha ha, hee hee, hoo hoo with everybody. I
Yeah.
don't like including everybody in my space, and giving my energy to everyone
Yeah.
because I am a people's person. I tend to go overboard with helping people, loving people, giving people, sharing my time, making sure I
Yeah.
do more for people than I do for myself. And I realize this now. But back then, it would probably come across as somebody who's, not friendly.
Yeah.
Even though I am a very friendly and welcoming person, but then I had to this is during Miss India days. I'm talking about the misconceptions because I had a wall. I always have a
Mm.
wall to not get hurt or to
Mm-hmm.
not, let somebody just, misbehave with me. I already have that, I would not say it's a dash face, beep, beep
Yeah.
face, but I always have that face that, listen, you don't mess with me. I'm a really strong lady. So that's something I actually am. And I always make
Mm.
sure people know that I'm a strong lady. But if they're genuinely good people, they're
Mm-hmm.
genuinely nice, they would be able to pass the test.
Okay.
Right? That was how I was back then. That
Mm.
you have to pass the test of this particular wall for me to see if I can trust you.
Yeah.
If you're just some flimsy, fluky personality, then well, you might think of me as rude, arrogant, and bitchy if you
Sure.
want to. I have no problem because I'm going to protect my energies, my little heart, and my life and my space.
Yeah.
Only people who
You
are
should.
worthy of my trust should I'm open to welcoming them. And this has been something I've always done all my life. I
Mm.
and though I have a million friends, that's what
Mm.
I'm saying. That's another flip side. I have a lot of friends, but then also I will make friends very easily, but then I will not let everybody enter that sanctity space of my circle of trust.
Yep.
So when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to now, me being, I've realized one thing that I've never put on a mask when it comes to who I am. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
that wall is for protection. But who I
Yep.
show people in terms of my work, my life, my feelings, my emotions, what I'm going through, it's always out there.
Mm.
In terms of the fact that if people want to know who I am, they would
Mm-hmm.
be able to figure it out because my Instagram stories are very real. I don't put up
Yeah.
just glamorous pictures of me. I would speak my
Mm.
mind. I would say what I believe in. I put up all sorts of quotes, man. I mean, I'm a quote person. You probably, as
Yeah.
somebody, can see my quote and know what I am feeling or going through. Even if it's not just about me, it's some that I'm trying to reflect it on the girls who follow me, that the women who follow
Yeah.
me, or the men who follow me. So I'm very real in terms of that. If I'm feeling something or I'm having a bad day, I will put that up as a thought of, in my Instagram picture. There'll be a quote or
Mm-hmm.
there'll be a big write up for
Yeah.
what I'm feeling or what I've observed or what I've introspected about my life, about myself, or the people around me that I'm seeing. There'll be a big, huge paragraph on that too. So, and
Yep.
everybody's like, oh, why do you write such stuff? I'm like, look, I want to, like, I could be a actor in the making,
Yep.
success in the making. I haven't made it. Even if I've made it there, I will still want people to be able to connect with me because
Mm.
I'm as real as it gets. Because I don't wake up with makeup on and look the way I look in my pictures all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
have bad skin day, bad hair day too. I have
Yep.
days when I cry and I have a heartbreak too. I have days
Mm-hmm.
when I'm not feeling my best self and I'm feeling the best too. So
Yep.
I'm not going to be covering that up for the world to believe that I have this glamorous life 24/7 because I don't, because I'm human.
Yep.
Right? And though I don't have a show like Kim Kardashian, I wish I did for the world to know how I
Sure.
live. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I do respect my privacy.
Yeah. You
You
should.
know, I would love to
Mm-hmm.
have a show like hers, but living in a country like ours,
Yeah.
it's very difficult for people to respect women for all their emotions, for all their strength, for all their beauty, for all their escapades, for all their being. Everything has to
Mm.
be filtered here because we are so
Yep.
judgmental about women and their
Yeah.
strengths. So for me, I'm trying to break that. Why I
Mm.
gave an example of Kim Kardashian is not because the entire world watches them, even though they love them and they hate them. My point being that because they're so confident in their skin, they're so confident about who they are. Yet there are people who speak ill of them. Yet there are people who love them. But then those people are building their lives and making their lives. We have people like Ellen DeGeneres and Oprah Winfrey too.
Yeah.
People love Oprah and Ellen.
Yeah.
Right? Because these people are breaking the shackles. What people think about women. Like Oprah has being the first Black woman to have that show.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
She's broken every possible norm. Ellen, when she brings people on shows, she brings kids on shows who are so massively talented. You know, there are shows out there in the world. There are shows on Discovery. There are shows, on TLC that you see that people are just women and men for that matter. I will not just say the women are doing this, men too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So for me, social media, though by now, if I was a very aggressive human being in terms of my ambitions and my work, I would have 1 million followers by now because I have that 1 million followers on Facebook. But I don't on Instagram because I've never been a social media person who markets herself very crazily and highly, who hires teams to be out there and do all of that. It's never been me. It wasn't me back then when I won. It's not been me when I did my films and my music videos. It's just not be. I'm like, okay, people like me, love me, they follow me, they tend to get to know who I am, they tend to don't. I'm okay with not being on the street and everybody recognizing me. At that point, right now, I'm at that point where I'm okay with the semi-fame, the super fame, the not so famous person as well at times. Because I feel like if I'm doing a good job with my work, more directors and actors are automatically calling me for my work. They're not, going to always be calling me on the basis of my Instagram following, which is also a trend nowadays because first thing they check is, iske Instagram followers kitne hain?
Oh, really?
Which is absolutely horrendous and horrible for getting casted. To be very honest, that also happens today.
Oh, wow. I didn't know this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is something I can never agree with or agree to, be it for anything for that matter, because I'm a very real person. I don't right now may not have 1 million followers. Tomorrow I may. Right?
Yeah.
But that depends on also how aggressive you are with your Instagram. I'm more aggressive with the idea of people understanding life, me, various things around me that are happening better. You can like me for that. You can hate me for that. It's up to you. I'm not going to force you to like me and force you to follow me. Automatically, when I reach a stage in my life where I am making it and I've made it, I'm bound to have 1 million followers. Fortunately, with gratitude in my life, it will be there.
Yeah.
Right now, where I am, I'm also happy with that. So when people see me with my masked self, the only mask I have is when I have too much makeup on or a couple of, a different set of clothes on in a photo shoot. When I'm playing a different character in a film, possibly. But as a human being, when I'm out there on my Instagram, my pictures represent me. Yes, they do. My quotes represent me. Yes, they do. People think you should be private about your life. I'm like, I'm private about the things I want to be private about. But there are other things people would want to know about me because they're like, hey, how real is she? How fake is she? And today it's all about that. You sell brands, you sell anything in the market today. It's about how real you are. I am not living a hunky-dory 24/7 happy life with perfection. There are days I feel amazing and the day feels horrible. There are days where we actors, during the pandemic, a lot of actors are coming out and helping people. A lot of people are trying to help their own families. A lot of people are not talking about it. So there is a variety of us out there. And it's on us how we represent ourselves. And I do not condemn anybody who wants to put their best foot forward. That's their belief. I put both, my worst and my best. Because I'm just that person. I've always been that person. The only fake thing you'll ever get from me is a fake laugh on a stupid joke I don't want to laugh at. But just to not make someone feel bad, I'll be like, yes, so funny. That's probably, and if I'm, and that's just me. A person will understand if I want them in my life or I don't. Because if I want you, I'll make the effort to have you. If I don't want you, you will understand because I will disappear. I won't fight. I won't argue. I won't, So I'm a very real person in terms of even my Instagram because I don't think on Facebook or Instagram I want to be the best because, there will be days sometimes the paparazzi catches me looking my worst, hello, then what am I going to say? Oh, that was all filters? No, you know? So I want people to connect with me as a human being more than just an actor. Because I really have always wanted to be a people's person. And it's not that I want to get into politics. It's just that I've always loved people. And some people find it hard to understand that why am I friendly and giving and loving. It's because that's what my parents taught me. And there are some people, of course, you can't be loving and giving to everybody because people take it for granted too. But your first idea and thought has to always be that approach anyone or anybody with kindness. And even yourself. So hence I used to be too harsh on myself and self-critical. But then I realized that even when I'm critical on myself, I need to love myself. Yeah. So I kind of tend to make sure that I put everything that I am out there, but also keep some things private to myself, which kind of involves other people in my life.
That's interesting. So, just switching gears a little bit, and this is about your current profession, which is movies and advertisements, and a lot of that. And that space is highly competitive as well. And candidly, it is short-lived as well for many. We have seen that as why, you could have gone and done something else after your pageant, but why? Meaning, I'm sure, like you mentioned, the amount of love, the amount of work you got was compelling enough for you to evaluate and then get into it.
Yeah.
But it is a competitive space. So
it is.
How do you keep up with the competition?
Oh, I don't keep up with the competition.
Okay.
I'm joking. So I'll tell you what. It is. At times, okay, I'm going to reframe it. It is, of course, very competitive. And I'm very competitive. But then I know how to draw a fine boundary with the fact that, I'm not going to let anything get to me, which used to happen to me when in the beginning I would not get a certain project or a modeling gig. Because when you win and everything's there set for you, nobody teaches you how to deal with the after effect.
Yeah.
As a human being also, when you're a kid, you're never taught in school how to deal with the other problems of life: rejection, acceptance, criticism. I mean, there's the different things that you're taught in school, even when it comes to rejection and criticism. And there's always a next time everybody tells you. But then how do you deal with that gap till there's a next time? Till you make it, till it happens for you, till that chance happens to you, till you get that 100 marks out of 100. How? What do you do with yourself? No one's taught that. And that's the most important part and phase of your life in which you make it or break it. Right? So it's extremely competitive because it's not a very stable industry in terms of you're not getting a salary every month. Right? So that, of course, there's a lot of financial, emotional, physical, mental stress that comes with the competition, that comes with the rejection and the acceptance also at the same time. Because not everybody can deal with success, not everybody can deal with rejection. For me, per se, I have been I've been a person who's never given up in life. I think I get it from my mom and my granddad and my dad. Right? They are people who've never given up on each other or on people. And I'm the same. I've never given up till I've not succeeded. In terms of not just my career, in terms of anything that I start, I have to finish it. I have to complete it. Right? So that attitude of mine as a kid, that discipline of mine that I had, that I don't want to give up on myself. Whether you reject me for being too pretty and not looking like girl next door, you reject me for looking ugly, or you reject me because I don't... See, the word rejection is a horrible word. It mentally hurts you. It affects you. Be it you being rejected by a girl or a guy. Any kind of rejection causes you some sort of mental and emotional trauma. Right? And the way I dealt with it was that, it wasn't meant for me. It wasn't... You have to self-talk yourself instead of being self-critical. I would always talk to myself because the first person I would call was my mom or my dad. And they would tell me that this is not meant for you. Because there are certain things I also rejected and I didn't want to do because, I don't like to show myself off in a certain way, in a certain character, and present
Mm-hmm.
women that way. Those projects that came to me. And I said, no, big banners, but just the wrong character at the wrong time.
Yep.
And I said, no. A lot of things came my way when I was waiting. We all are waiting for the right moment. I wasn't waiting for a very big banner to launch me, but I was waiting for a good, juicy role for me to just be able to enjoy myself when I'm doing my job, not be scared about what's going to happen tomorrow if I do this.
Yeah.
So there's one thing my grandfather told me, beta, jab naam kamaoge na, to paisa khud hi aayega.
Agreed.
There is
100%.
nothing better than goodwill. There will be people who will hate you and despise you and put you down. But there will be people who will love the courage and the guts you have.
Yeah.
And being a woman, the biggest obstacle I face, forget the obstacle of the industry, okay? That comes way later. The biggest obstacle you face as a woman being in the industry is everybody thinks that every girl and every actor is either sleeping or they are, up to some dirty, naughty business. And that's not true.
It is not true.
It's not. Why do you have to tag every model or an actress or think about them that way? That was the biggest thing that I had to fight when my friends or anybody I knew, or they would, tell my parents, oh, ऐसा सुना है, ऐसा होता है. ठीक है यार, वो तो हर industry में होता है.
Agreed.
Men are leeches everywhere. There is a power game everywhere. Women are selling women out everywhere. Why is it that you're only thinking negatively about my industry? Because it's a media industry. It's for you, it's out there, open there, people discussing and talking about it. People are not talking about it in the other industries. Now people have started to. Right? But the stigma was this. Hi ladki hai, hi ye, hi. अरे लड़कियां बहुत strong हैं. तो ये जो हाई हाई इनका बिजनेस और हॉ हॉ इनका बिजनेस था, सबसे पहले तो मुझे उनसे लड़ना था मेंटली. इनके हाई हाई और इनका हॉ हॉ, इनको पहले इनके मुंह बंद करो. इनके मुंह बंद नहीं होते हमारे सोसाइटी में, आंटीज के, अंकल्स के. ठीक है? So I am just like, what is this ho ho hi hi? Like, get a life, first of all. Second, I would tell my parents that somebody who has to do will do it. Somebody who doesn't have to do it will not do it. Somebody who has those boundaries.
And it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
Somebody who has that boundary will make that boundary. Somebody who wants to exploit their boundaries, it's up to them. I am not judging nobody. I am not going to put anybody down. I am not going to character assassinate any woman or man. I am not going to, if somebody has made a personal choice, it's their personal choice. But do not ever put fingers on me. Do not ever, raise an eyebrow looking at me. Respect me. I demand respect for whatever I do. Not to my parents, to the world. To my friends, anybody I come across who says, acting mein to aisa hai. मैंने कहा, आपकी industry में क्या है? आपकी industry में ये नहीं है कुछ. Just saying for that matter. So that was the biggest stigma I had to find being a woman who was living alone in Bombay. Okay, because any girl, even if she's a college girl who's not in the industry, Baba, I have seen people look at strong, independent, corporate women also living alone in another city, thinking कि ये तो कुछ कर रही होगी, दाल में कुछ काला है. These aunties start talking, that stuff starts happening in people's mind. The moment they see any girl living alone, any beautiful woman, they just have to sexually categorize you. That's the biggest stigma we have to break, first of all.
Overcome.
Yeah. And overcome. It's a chain which we have to break, and it's a stigma we as a society have to overcome. Then the second thing, I had a bunch of criminal relatives after my life. उनको चैन ही नहीं मिलता था मेरे सक्सेस से. हाँ, लिटरली उनको मतलब वो कहीं कुछ फेक ब्लॉग बना देंगे, कुछ लिख देंगे, कुछ ड्रामा कर लेंगे, कुछ भी कि मैं उनको अटेंशन दे दूं. That was the biggest problem. Industry तो बहुत, मतलब I was so prepared to face the industry already. I had such people around me, jealous of my parents getting their daughters a good education. इनकी बच्चों की पढ़ाई हो गई है, बच्चे अच्छा कर रहे हैं, लड़कियां कमा रही हैं. कैसे हो सकता है? मेरे तो कुछ relatives बौखला गए थे, पागल हो गए थे. They went on a spree of, I can't even tell you the amount of criminal activities and threats I have got as a growing up girl. my parents got. This is before Miss India also. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So the kind of threads, because we had a lot of property matters and, things going on after my grandfather died. So people tend to become greedy, right? Some of them. And
Agreed.
so in that case, our family got a little rugged. And but my parents are very like chill people, yeah. So
Yeah.
they got into a battle. And in that battle, we kids were, of course, always the target because, who do you how do you hurt somebody? By targeting their kids. How
Yeah.
do you hurt the kids? By targeting their parents.
Yeah.
So a lot of defamation, drama, propaganda was created. And I told my mom, rise above this muck. They're
Mhm.
this is dirt. Okay.
Yeah.
And watch me. I am going to do whatever I have to do to build my life and make my life. And that's the reason, one of the reasons I left that city too, because I
Okay.
wanted to travel the world. I didn't want to just stay there and work there. I wanted to go abroad and study. I did my shit, my bit, sorry. Um,
That's okay.
and my sister did really tremendously well. And they would call up my sister's university, and she was in Gargi, and she was the president of her society of Dramstock. They would call her up and her friends and people and talk the worst things possible about a young girl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And though people supported us and loved us because they knew us, right? People knew us. So they were like, hello, can you please put the phone down? We're really not interested in your. And there were some people who believed them, So there was a mix and match of both. And then I went ahead becoming a Miss India, excelling. And you can imagine how frustrating and furious they must have been. Burning. Like, oh my God. They were on fire. And I just told my mom, let them do whatever they are doing. There are, some mistakes I have made. There's some mistakes we all make, but there's some blunders people make.
Yeah.
I'm like, let them attack us for that. It's okay.
Yeah.
They would find maybe a picture of me or a small something of me, and whatever they would do, yaar. Bleacher longo koi kaam nahi hota. Anyways, so and my mom and dad would get a little. My dad got over it. He's like, "Meri beti bahut acha kar rahi hai. Main khush hu uske liye." And my dad usually lives with me in Bombay, so he knows. Because one of my parents, our parents keep shuffling between the kids. So either my mom's with me half the time or my dad's with me. My dad's like, I know, tu chinta na kar. Because my dad stayed here and saw everything, right? He's like, this is Bollywood. Nobody really cares about one, two relatives going crazy bonkers. Worst things are happening in the world. My mom would get affected because that's a mother, right? You're kind of trying to harm her kids and the kids' growth. But people were so kind and supportive of me throughout that journey, and I would never forget that. And there were some stupid, silly mistakes I also made. But then I told my mom, rise above this, and I promise you will be proud of me. It will not even affect you. Right? And then I just started focusing on me, doing everything for myself. So when I entered the industry, I was already prepared to deal with any kind of a human being now. Because I dealt with so many before that I was so ready and prepared for any sort of rejection, harsh use of language, or acceptance and success. So I approached every rejection with a calm state of mind, saying that, you know what, something better is coming on the way for me. Because I would always practice a gratitude journal. I will always say something good's coming. The universe has my back. It's going to happen for me. Something's going to come my way. And I did so many TV commercials and I worked with over 200 brands. So for me, I was like, wow, and it all happened in the cleanest, protected, loving way possible with the great management backing me, with the great people I worked with who pushed me and got me more work, that I was grateful. Now with movies, when you start, there are so many beautiful girls out there. Sometimes you fit the bill. Sometimes you don't fit the bill. Sometimes they want to make more money, so they take a bigger actor. Sometimes, they take a chance on a newcomer from maybe a bigger household. That's a part of the game. But nobody can take away your talent from you. Sometimes it is true. The right place at the right time is also very important. And it is very important. So for me, everything that I have gone through had made me before very angry as a person. I'll be very honest, very aggressive, impulsive, because I had so much of anger and, hurt built inside of me because of my childhood trauma, because of my relatives and what my parents had to go through. And I went through, even I'm sometimes going through it now because of them. They don't back off. That, it tends to make you a very protective kid about yourself, about your parents, your loved ones, people you let enter. You become angry. So, but when it came to my work, I found out that I was never angry with my work, no matter what happened to
That's
me.
great.
So I realized that amidst the chaos in Mumbai, my work gave me that peace, that sense of freedom, that independence, that financial independence. Even though my money would come in late at times, or projects would not happen sometimes, I had enough sensibility to save my money and to look after myself, to not ask my parents for it. And give them more.
Okay.
So I always looked at my problem that, what, Alankrita, you can't go back from this, man. You've made it so far. And your parents are so proud of you. And I always think of my grandfather, beta naam, log to kichad uchhalenge, lekin naam, goodwill. Because my grandfather had goodwill, and he has that goodwill till date, And so whenever I approach a rejection, I am like, dude, you know what? There's better out there for me. I'm going to get something bigger than this, and you watch me. And if it's not happened to me, then trust me, this was not meant for me. And I always tell myself that it might sound it's too much, and I have that attitude, but then I got to self-talk myself with love, for me to keep going. And then sometimes I say, maybe I didn't do my best. I got to work harder on myself. So then I do more hard work on myself to understand different nuances about my body and my expressions. About my different things I need to work on. I take more workshops, more classes. And then if I'm successful, then I'm even more grateful, and I share my success with everybody. I just don't keep it to myself, and I just don't become arrogant about it, because it can be taken away anytime. Like you said, it's short-lived. So I could have done anything in my life. I agree. But then life didn't want me to do anything at that point of time. I was doing a job. I was working in an amazing company. But I was like, beta, आपका थोड़ा सा हम चेंज करेंगे लाइफ. तो लाइफ भगवान ने, यूनिवर्स ने खुद ही चेंज कर दी, वरना मैं डेस्कटॉप में बैठी रहती शायद. और इससे मुझे और रियलाइज हुआ इस इंडस्ट्री में आने के बाद कि I love to create in terms of, I love to decorate, I love to do interiors. So if tomorrow I don't make it that big, I'm not going to be disappointed, because my aim is to be happy. Of course, have a great luxurious life, and have a good, healthy, abundant life with good people in it. I want to have kids. I want to get married. So I'm not in that frame of mind that I'm in a rat race and I have to make it. I want to make it till I can make it. I want to do it till I'm enjoying it. The time I start to feel like it's not working out for me, and, it's something that maybe God's like, okay, maybe time to change your thingy. I'm ready for it too. I'm not going to be disappointed, because I actually want to do interiors as well. Like, I want to be an interior designer. I want to make people's homes beautiful, because I love interiors. So for me, I know what I want to do long term as well. And for me, long term, I would love to have my family. I would love to be with my kids. I would love to work even though I have kids. And if people still give me work in the industry, then I'm grateful for that. If they don't, I'm going to have my business. So, I'm not stuck कि करना ही करना है. हाँ, करना है जब तक जिंदगी में आपको opportunities मिल रही हैं, आपको लोग प्यार दे रहे हैं, काम कर रहे हैं. कभी-कभी लोग आपको भूल भी जाते हैं. कभी-कभी लोग आपको काम देना बंद कर देंगे. अब मैं लोगों से बेग नहीं कर सकती.
You can't fight that.
Yeah. तो मुझे अपनी जिंदगी को संवारने के लिए, अपने लाइफ को बेटर करने के लिए और क्या करना चाहिए? बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं. मेरी लाइफ एक जगह पे खत्म नहीं होती है. तो आई नेवर थिंक कि मेरी जिंदगी सिर्फ एक एक्टर बनना है. मेरी जिंदगी में मैं एक इंसान भी हूँ जिसको बहुत सारी ड्रीम्स हैं. राइट? एक्टिंग करना भी मेरी ड्रीम है. बड़े मुकाम तक पहुंचना भी मेरी ड्रीम है. पर वो मुकाम अगर मुझे इस चीज से हासिल नहीं हुआ तो मैं कहीं और से हासिल करूंगी. लेकिन करूंगी जरूर. I will reach the top, be it in this or that, but I will. So I am not ambitiously greedy about making it big. I want to make it large in terms of I should be able to touch people's lives. I should be able to protect people who can't protect themselves. I should be able to do things for people and encourage people and motivate people. If I have to become a motivational speaker for the rest of my life and maybe earn money through that, why not? But I want to be a
Yeah, why
person
not?
that people look up to me and be like, yeah, my daughter should be like her. Yeah, I would love to be like her. I would love to do something like she's doing and touch people's lives. Like my work, if through acting touches people's life, or through decorating people's homes, or through speaking to people, or through any sort of work touches people's life, because
Mm-hmm.
I want to die with the Indian flag wrapped around me. That is my goal.
Wow. Okay.
So
That's nice.
whatever makes that happen and whatever direction
Mm-hmm.
life takes me in for that to happen, I will do it. So
Okay.
I'm not stuck with the fact of being accepted and rejected. Someone's accepting me, rejecting me doesn't make me think small about myself. And I hope it should not make anybody think small about themselves, because there's so much more to life.
Hmm.
And even if you don't make it, there is something else waiting for you. Maybe you did not,
Oh, yes.
maybe it was not meant for you. Maybe you did not work hard enough. You were not disciplined enough. Maybe your stars weren't in the right place. There could be fault in our
Yeah.
stars in some things that we do. So we can't blame ourselves, curse ourselves, and get angry all the time around the people around us and lash out on other people.
Oh, yes.
So this
We should.
time has made me introspect, become more patient with myself,
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
which has made it easier for me to become patient with everything else that has around me. Understanding of me that I can understand people around me. Before I was in a
Hmm.
rush because everybody was expecting me to be in a rush to make it. Then I had to slow down. I was like, hello.
Yep. You have
And
to.
I'm very bad with connecting with people in terms of socializing in the industry, in the film fraternity. Hence, it's taken me
Mhm.
longer than expected to actually get that particular break people are expecting me to with a very big actor. But I work with Vicky and Arjun and I'm working with more people. So for me, no actor is big and small. No work is big and small. It's just the amount of people who are able to recognize me and see me that makes me big and small. Right?
Hmm.
It's so when it comes to that, it will come there also. I just have to kind of be a little more uh, hardworking and a little more disciplined, a little more out there, that people know that this person exists with this kind of talent. They don't know that yet because
Yep.
I have not made sure of that only. So
Hmm.
when that happens, it will eventually happen. So I'm going
Hmm.
with the flow. Because for me, people
So
say, hi,
talk.
umar hogi hai, ladki ho, ye ho, wo ho. हाँ भैया मेरी उम्र है, मैं बहुत खुश हूँ. मैं बहुत खुश हूँ. मैं हर साल एक और नई मेरे को साल मिलता है जिंदगी जीने का. चाहे मैं ये करूँ
Yeah.
कि वो करूँ. So I'm not very stuck on the idea, because before I was so stuck on the idea of a woman at a certain age needs to get married. This needs to happen, that needs to happen. In the last 1 year, I've realized, you know what? No, it does not. Women
Hmm.
can do so much more than just be stuck with the fact that we're always told age is a number. Yes, it is a
Yep.
number, but I'm not let it define me. I've never have.
Yeah.
So for me, that's how it works for me.
This conversation has been amazing, and I'm sure women, girls, and everybody who's listening to it, not just specific to a gender, even me, when I've been hearing you, it's been interesting to see the other side and hear the other side, because there's a lot of misconceptions which happen with everybody's career. And talking about careers,
Yes.
Alankrita, I have a question
Please
for
ask me.
you, that anybody who's looking to build a career in the Bollywood or in the Indian cinema or the advertisement space, what would be your advice to them?
Anyone who's trying to build their lives in the Sapno Ki Nagri, Mumbai,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to tell you that it's not going to be easy.
Hmm.
I think it's going to push your limits. It's going to make you break down.
Mm-hmm.
But if you pass that test, Mumbai is a city which embraces you and keeps you in that city to make it. I know one thing, that अगर आप यहाँ belong करते हो,
Yep.
मुंबई शहर ऐसा है जो आपको अपना लेगी. अगर आप यहाँ नहीं belong करते हो, वो आपको वापस भेज देगी. पहली बात तो ये. दूसरी बात, if you want to make it in the industry, please don't come with, preconceived notions that you
Mm-hmm.
see on Instagram or in the
Yep.
articles, in the movies that a lot of directors have created about women and men. There is all kinds of strata and kind of people in our industry, in our society as well. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be mentally, emotionally, physically ready to be able to combat the stress which comes with it. Because there are going to be days it's like a roller coaster ride. You're going to have those highs, then you're going to have those really dipping lows. And you have to have a good bunch of friends. Don't have friends who are in all kinds of, business of drugs and, always partying and drinking and pushing you to do the things which you're not meant to do and out of your comfort zone. Hey, ye try kar le, ye kar le, wo kar le. Nahi. Be disciplined and focused. Focus on because this tends to happen. People don't address this issue, but yes, a lot of people end up just partying, drinking, drugs, and having boyfriends or girlfriends. Because you tend to get lonely or whatever it is. Don't do that to yourself and to your body. You got to rise above that. Have fun, yes. But please, mentally and emotionally, make yourself so strong that even though you face 100 vulnerabilities and you're vulnerable to 100 things, you know you can come back and bounce back from that because you're meant for more. You're meant for better things out there. And a couple of rejections and a couple of bad days or even financial scrutiny should not make you doubt yourself or give up. Because there will be financial issues too. If you've left your house or your parents are not supportive or there are various things to do. You will be told ये सही नहीं है. आप तुम कैसे कर लोगे? क्या है इस इंडस्ट्री में? आपको अपना मान सम्मान बना के रखना है चाहे कोई आप में बिलीव करे या ना करे. इसलिए आपकी फाइनेंशियल स्थिति, थोड़ी मेंटल स्थिति, इमोशनल स्थिति और आपकी फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ बहुत जरूरी है. बिकॉज आपकी मेंटल स्ट्रेंथ आपके फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ को फिर ड्रेन कर देती है. ये याद रखना. एवरीथिंग गोज हैंड इन ग्लव. योर इमोशनल स्थिति will also drain your body, which will make you not productive. And there will be some days you just want to sit in bed and not move. I've had those days for I don't want to get out. I don't want to face the world. But then you need to know that the world is waiting to see you. And that's why you've come so far. You've left everything, or maybe your family still supports you. Whatever it is your reason to be here. Don't doubt that reason and don't doubt yourself. Self-doubt, self-inflicting pain, self-sabotaging, being self-critical will not make you reach anywhere. Positive affirmations every day about how amazing you are. I maintain a gratitude journal is very important. Keeps your kind of spirits high. Audition. Be disciplined. Meet the right people. Know where to draw your boundaries. Get good pictures clicked. Stay healthy no matter what weight or what kind of a body structure or height you have. Do not let people tell you तुम छोटे हो, तुम बड़े हो, तुम मोटे हो, तुम ऐसे हो. But healthy होना जरूरी है, चाहे कैसे भी हो. Don't overdo your surgeries, please. Don't overdo your lip jobs, your boob jobs, your all jobs. Look, if that job works for you and it's making you look amazing and presentable, please do it. If it's changing the way you feel about yourself, please do it. If it makes you be more confident, then do it. But don't go obsessive. Don't become compulsively obsessed with beauty. Please study. Do not give up on studying. It's very important in today's time. Always keep an open mind to having other businesses for financial stability. Okay. Also, when you're coming into this industry, please make sure you kind of meet agencies or meet good coordinators. And don't fall for any sugarcoating traps, be it men or women. The other thing that I would say to people is that आइए इंडस्ट्री में बहुत अच्छे लोग हैं जो बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, जो आजकल OTT प्लेटफॉर्म्स के वजह से अब सबको अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिल सकती हैं काम करने के लिए. अब आपको सिर्फ एक बड़ा बैनर नहीं चाहिए अपना टैलेंट दिखाने के लिए, तो डरिए मत. बहुत अच्छे लोग हैं, बहुत अच्छे दोस्त बनाएंगे आप यहाँ आके जो जिंदगी भर आपका साथ देंगे. तो अपने जज्बातों को, अपने बुलंदी से आपको अपने करेज को पकड़ के रखना होगा. आपको अगर बुलंदी तक पहुंचना है तो आपको बहुत गूदा और करेज जिसको कहते हैं रखना होगा. आपको ब्रेव होना पड़ेगा, आपको फियरलेस होना पड़ेगा. आपको बुलीज से आप बिल्कुल भी सकम मत होइएगा. प्लीज डू नॉट सकम टू बुलीज. Stand up against them. Be as real. Do not try to fit into groups and think only some fraternities will make it happen for you. Be real. People like real people. So the more real you are, the more people would be attracted towards you. The more you love yourself, the more people will love you. So be a magnet of love, be a magnet of abundance and joy, because people can never stay away from good people. So come here, make your dreams. And if you don't think that's not working out for you, then be smart. Don't waste your life. There's so much out there for you that you can also do on the side if you don't want to give up on yourself. Like, look at Nawazuddin. He never gave up on himself, man.
Yeah.
So there are people like that too. Okay. So keep in mind that people who don't give up on each other can also make it. And sometimes there are people who, despite everything, it does not work out for them. Doesn't mean you are any less. It just means that this industry is not for you. There's something else and bigger waiting for you. So do not ever not ask for help if you ever feel depressed. One of the biggest things. So please seek help if you ever feel lonely or sad. Sometimes you tend to if you're living alone in the city and you're coming so far for your dreams. Seek help. Love yourself and stay strong, because you need strength to be in this industry and a lot of perseverance and dedication. That's it. That's what I would say.
On those beautiful thoughts, Alankrita, this has been an amazing conversation, and thank you for speaking your heart out.
Thank you.
I never expected it, but I'm really glad that we had this conversation.
Me
because
too.
I'm sure through this conversation, a lot of people will be seeing the side which, like you said, typically may not come across because of the glamour, because of the things which surround general perceptions. So thank you for sharing those stories about yourself, about your family.
Thank you.
It's been a far enriching conversation, and thank you for taking time out.
Thank you so much for having me. I think for me, the more opportunities I get to speak to people and inspire them, the merrier for me. I am extremely delighted, and I'm very happy that you started this. And I hope that you are more successful than you can imagine, and you get more viewers, and your podcast is a super hit. I wish you the best. And I'm very, very happy to be able to, during this pandemic, have a very light-hearted and an amazing conversation with USCs. Thank you.
Likewise. And you stay safe. And
you too. You too. And everybody listening, please stay safe and stay healthy too. And lots of love and light to all of you.
Thank you for listening in. And we close yet another episode of Masters Decoded. If you've enjoyed the episode, please, you can help us out by sharing it on social media. I would personally appreciate that. It's how we can reach more listeners, and the more listeners we have, the more awesome guests I can get in touch and convince to participate in these conversations that are a joy to have for me, and I hope they are a joy for you to listen as well. You can also help a lot leaving reviews on iTunes or your podcast service of choice. Reviews are surprisingly helpful in supporting the podcast to get to more listeners. If this episode has intrigued you, I would request you to subscribe to the podcast to stay up to date and get notified to the future episodes. With that, I bid you and see you in the next episode.